the ancient Indian epic Mahabharata, there is a mention of a city, Indraprastha, set on the banks of river Yamuna. This city is Delhi. Over centuries, Delhi has evolved from a culmination of 8 cities set up by different dynasties. A city whose monuments and architectural wonders tell a rich and distinctive narrative. A city which is today the capital of India. Delhi has grown to become a megapolis, the 8th largest in the world. Home to a population of almost 16 million. But the sheer size of the city has brought with it a magnitude of civic issues, such as chronic shortage of power, drinking water, infrastructure, and environmental pollution. By the time Sheila Dikshit was sworn in as Chief Minister, these challenges were on top of her agenda. Sheila Dikshit grew up in Delhi, born to a civil servant family.
My father was a civilian with a colonel's rank in the army. So he was a civil servant. My mother had been educated in Kannad College in Lahore.
Her early schooling was in Delhi itself, and she went to a local college, Miranda House.
I did my MA in history. I did my BA before that in Miranda House. I enjoyed every bit of it. I made lifelong friends, we did plays, we went to the coffee house, we went to a movie, went bunked classes, not necessarily our parents knowing about it.
It was while in college that she met her future husband, Vinod Dikshit.
Vinod Dikshit came from a freedom fighters family. He was the only child of Uma Shankar Dikshit, had studied in modern school, then went to St. Stephen's, was a good, bright student, a very fine cricketer. He proposed to me in a DTC bus. So we, right in front of Red Fort. I got married. Traditional Indian wedding, really traditional. My father-in-law got a pandit who was really an erudite pandit, so he did not waste too much time. Lal Bahadur Shastri, Indira Gandhi, Zakir Hussain, all these people who was anybody, they came. I went to see Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru with my father-in-law because he was very unwell at that time. He gave me a big hug.
Sheila Dikshit's political career began with helping her father-in-law.
It was 68-69 when I really joined my father-in-law because he was overburdened with work. That was the first time I learned from a close quarter what politics was about.
In 1984, she was chosen by the then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi to stand for Parliament.
I got sucked in really in 1984 after Indiraji's demise. Rajiv Gandhi spoke to my father-in-law that I would like Sheila to contest from UP. My father-in-law and my husband both encouraged me, said, this is your time to enter politics. My husband was keen that somebody should do it. He couldn't do it, so I had to. And there I was in Parliament. Then within about a year of my being in Parliament, a year and a half, I was made Minister of State.
It was the sudden death of her husband in 1987 that was to change her life and that of her 2 children.
I picked up my strings of my life. This would be the 3rd phase of my life. School, college, falling in love, having a beautifully married life, lovely children, lovely parents-in-law. And this was the shock that I don't think I have even today forgotten really.
In 1998, she was elected to the Delhi Assembly and sworn in as a Chief Minister for the first time.
My father-in-law, before he died, he said that I had mentioned to Indira Gandhi that if she's fit for any place, it is Delhi. Because he says she understands the ethos of Delhi. She's grown up here, she's been educated here, her friends are here. Everybody knew me much more in Delhi than anywhere else. So I think Delhi made me feel comfortable, and I think somewhere Delhiites felt comfortable with me.
On 16th December 2008, Sheila Dikshit was sworn in as Chief Minister of Delhi for the third consecutive term. To many analysts, her popularity could be attributed as much to compassionate leadership as to her compelling vision and the engaging personality of the Chief Minister herself. The enormity of the challenges to govern Delhi to ensure sustainability with development needed a holistic solution and a vision. And intuitively, for someone who lived her life in Delhi, Sheila Dikshit found the answer in an inclusive approach, an approach which made every citizen accountable and a stakeholder in the city's present and future.
It took me about 9 months to see how do we reach out to the various sectors of people. So this very cosmopolitan microcosm of India itself, how do we reach out to them? What do we find what their aspirations are? And I do believe that governments are elected and selected for the people and by the people. So how do we become for them? Then we came up with this word Bhagidari, which in English translates to governance through partnership.
For Sheila Dikshit, Bhagidari, or the citizen government partnership, was primarily a template. It was also a radical out-of-the-box thinking that allowed the citizens an understanding of how government decisions were made. In turn, it allowed those in government to understand the peculiar needs and aspirations of different sections of society.
I do video conferencing at every DC's office. We sit in the office here in the secretariat. They sit there, the RWAs come there and give us their things. Ye bijli nahi aayi, pani nahi aaya, ganda pani aaya, this sort of thing. Road has not been repaired. You know, there's multiplicity of authorities here. So we have to explain to the people that this is what we will do and this is how we will achieve it.
The Bhagidari initiative has grown from a mere 20 citizen groups in the year 2000 to over 3,300 groups today, representing almost 95% of the city's population.
This has helped us enormously. We also learned from it that see, when a person lives in a cooperative society, his attitude and his demands are very different to somebody who's living in Amrita Sher Gilmarg, or somebody who's living in an unauthorized colony, or somebody who's living in Old Delhi.
Sheila Dikshit's government used Bhagidari as a model for empowerment of women, where women were given dignity and self-respect through vocational training. Bhagidari was used to improve the quality of education as well as the infrastructure of government schools. Bhagidari meant active participation of the residents in different neighborhoods to solve problems as varied as sanitation and encouragement of rainwater harvesting.
Wastage of water is enormous. Leakage of the water is about 42%. So you know how to recycle, how to reuse and how not to waste. You know, the kind of ads we bring out with, you know, people wasting water, throwing water, washing the roads in front of their homes with good, clean, treated water. So these are campaigns that are continuous, but we can't sit back on them. So we keep on these social awareness for yourself, not for the, even if we don't think of the community, we have to think of ourselves. Please carry on.
By doing this, Bhagidari ensured that the principles of sustainable development were integrated into our government's policies and successfully implemented in the But the one civic issue Delhi's growth and burgeoning population had brought about was chronic power shortage. The solution to this was to be innovative, as it was to be radical. Sheila Dikshit knew that drastic policy changes and reforms were required.
There were these outages for 8 hours, 10 hours, people coming on the streets 2 hours. There was power, but there was theft of power, enormous. Everybody's hooked on. And I must tell you with a sense of great apology, that even the richest people used to just hook on onto the main line and draw power without having to pay for it. It had become a culture. We interacted with power companies. We got people to come. What do? We interacted with the central government that this is what we are wanting to do to improve the situation. How do we go about it? So we decided to distribute. We took the power reforms. It took us 6 months to take the decision. We told people also that we are going to privatize them.
At first, there was resistance to privatization of transmission and distribution. But the consequent results have more than justified the need for such revolutionary measures.
Now today, after 8-9 years, I can say with some satisfaction that yes, our power reforms have been successful. Not only successful, they have been looked upon as an example for other states to follow, and been recognized the world over because things have improved.
The reforms in the power sector brought about by the Sheila Dikshit government has shown impressive results. Losses from transmission and distribution of power have been drastically reduced from over 48% in the year 2002 to 18% in 2008.
We went through hard work, but I think it was hard work because we were committed to do it and we couldn't afford it to fail. And then of course the central government was good enough to give us more power. 1900 megawatts was what was used in 98, 99 when we came into power, 99. Today we touch almost 5,000 megawatts. So that's the kind of range that has come out. Losses coming down, meters coming there.
By the time Sheila Dikshit's government had come to power, pollution and environmental degradation in Delhi had reached crisis point. Sheila Dikshit devised a 360-degree action plan. Her aim was to make Delhi a more environmentally sustainable and livable city. She involved citizens in achieving this goal. They had to be motivated, and school children were used as conduits to reach out to the parents. Eco-clubs were formed to spread awareness. This Green Brigade passionately propagated issues like abandoning use of plastic bags and recycling paper and water.
Now, Bhagidari is not only confined to the citizens, it's also confined to the children of Delhi. We have about 2,000 eco-clubs in Delhi, where we teach children, look after the plants, grow trees, don't, if you see any plant dying, just water it a bit. It takes you a mug of water to do it. Then we also did, as a matter of policy, we don't give flowers to each other. Like, you have a function and somebody gives you a bouquet. But no, our government functions gives a plant to each other. So we involved citizens, RWAs. We've set up now a garden society, a parks and garden society. We give them an amount of money, say 1 lakh, 2 lakhs of rupees, depending on their requirement and the area which they're covering. All right, here, maintain your garden yourself. Keep your own malis, do that, because the government mali may not turn up. So that has had an impact.
The concept of green buildings and a new energy efficiency code for these buildings has now been made mandatory. Vehicle pollution was reduced by the introduction of CNG as alternate fuel. The entire public transport fleet of 1,30,000 were converted from diesel to CNG, making it the largest fleet of public transport run on CNG anywhere in the world.
All the public transport was changed from petrol, diesel to CNG. So today taxis, the scooters, the three-wheelers, the buses, and any other public transport that is there, it runs only on CNG. That was a huge change.
And an aggressive drive was launched to green Delhi so that the green cover of the city would expand. To achieve this, major steps were taken. Significant regeneration of biodiversity was worked out. 2 large biodiversity parks covering 1,000 hectares of land added to the city's green canopy. Prior to 2007, there were 25 protected forests and 14 city forests. In the last 2 years alone, the Sheila Dikshit government added 18 new city forests, and another 9 city forests are targeted this year.
Now we built up city forests. The idea is to have 42 city forests, and at the moment we've done 28. And these are about 10 acres, 15 acres, 5 acres, whatever, where you grow just trees and bound them.
Sheila Dikshit's Delhi government undertook a time-bound program to plant trees around roads, avenues, canals and river banks. The current length of avenue plantations is more than 550 kilometers. The forest cover of Delhi, which was as low as 26 square kilometers in 1997, has increased to over 300 square kilometers today, giving Delhi a forest and tree cover of almost 20% of its total geographical area, the highest among all metropolitan cities in India.
When in 1998 we came in, the green cover of Delhi was about 3%. Today it is 20.20%. This also, Bhagidari helped us.
Today the city boasts of some of the best greenery and gardens. These have become the very lung of the metropolis. Delhi under Sheila Dikshit is today among the greenest capital cities in the world. Sheila Dikshit's decade in power has been marked by an expansion of public transport, including metro rail and natural gas-powered buses. It has seen the construction of over 60 flyovers. She set off major reforms in the power sector, transformed public healthcare and local education. She took urgent steps towards environmental protection and initiated a massive drive towards upgrading the city's housing and infrastructure. But governing a megacity is as much about the present as it is about the future. And for Sheila Dikshit, the future of Delhi is embedded in her vision.
It's India's most booming city economically. It's a happening city, so infrastructure is going on, culture goes on. Now my thing would be that we have to give housing for these. We do not have housing for the poor. So housing is a huge program which we have started. It's one of the cities of the world which has perhaps got the maximum heritage in it. I want people living in Delhi and those coming in Delhi to say that this is a city. It's culturally rich, it's aesthetic, it's polite, it's got infrastructure, it's got very good education. Part of our dream is to make this into a knowledge city also. It's already become a services city. I want Delhi to be a home for everybody and a beautiful home for everybody.
The Chief Minister of Delhi realizes that she needs to match the growing needs and aspirations of a population which desires for a city that is secular, cosmopolitan, and where its ancient heritage coexists with the best of the modern.